Thank you so much for being here. I'm Hallie Riddick. I wrote this episode, Rhoda's Big Day, and my friends and collaborators are all in this episode with me, and we're just so excited to have you here. We're so grateful to have you here. We had a lot of fun rehearsing this, and we really are excited to share it with you. Before we get started on the episode, I wanted to just give you all some background, some context. If anyone hasn't seen the Mary Tyler Moore Show, I just wanted to give you all just the basics of what the show is about. And I also wanted to just give you all some context of where the project came from and a little bit of the historical context. So the Mary Tyler Moore Show started in 1970, premiered in 1970 and went till 1977. And it revolves around Mary, a young woman who has just broken up with her fiance whom she supported through medical school. And she moves out on her own to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And she quickly gets a job as an associate producer for the 6 o'clock news on a second-tier network, and forms a sort of work family there with her friend and the writer for the 6 o'clock news, Murray Slaughter, who is sort of sarcastic and clever, but very loyal to Mary. And then Ted Baxter, the anchorman for the 6 o'clock news, is very, he has a big ego. He thinks he's the most talented and handsome guy in the room and is sort of really unaware of himself and naive. And then Lou Grant, who is her boss, who is from the older generation, a little stuck in his ways, but becomes a father figure to Mary throughout the series. She also forms a tight friendship with Rhoda, who lives in her building a floor above her. And Rhoda is a young Jewish woman from the Bronx who also moved out on her own to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and is a window dresser for a local department store, Hempel's. And they all sort of form a tight-knit friendship and support one another through chaotic and troubling times. This project came out of my studies for my women's history course with Lita Sizer. I came to Lita in the beginning of the year in September and said I was really interested in the Mary Tyler Moore Show and wanted to explore its legacy. And so I started watching the series and doing research on 1970s America. It was pretty clear to me after doing some research that a lot of the audience that was watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show were considered boomers or children of the Great Depression. And they found comfort in the Mary Tyler Moore Show because Mary was sort of confronting the new world that everyone was facing. If you were an audience member in 1970s America, you might be pissed at the government. Watergate had just happened. The economy was not doing well. There was a new sort of sense of cynicism. The Vietnam War had just ended. Sexism and race politics seemed to be changing, but not fast enough. The civil rights movement had come to a close, and the women's liberation movement was still going, but struggling with its own issues and controversies. And so that's sort of the context of where the show was born. I really became interested in the depiction of female friendship in the Mary Tyler Moore Show between Rhoda and Mary. I found their relationship really fascinating. They sort of straddled two worlds of second wave feminism and conservative America. Both of the women are independent, supporting one another in their new lives of singledom, but they also face pressures to get married, have children, and their relationship is often tested by romantic competition. There's quickly a dynamic set up on the show that Mary is the more desirable character. She gets all the handsome dates. And Rhoda is sort of the loud, more aggressive character who doesn't always end up with the guy. So for this episode that I wrote, I wanted to switch that dynamic up. I wanted to have Rhoda get the guy in a big way. And I wanted to show Mary's reaction honestly. And I wanted them to be honest about their insecurities and jealousies of one another. And so that's where this episode, Rhoda's Big Day, came from. After the reading of the episode, Lita is going to come on, my professor, and we're just going to answer any questions anyone might have or hear your all's comments on the episode. I'm just so excited to have all of you here. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the show. So without further ado, Rhoda's Big Day.